Hello and welcome to Soul in Balance. My name's Alesha and I'll be bringing you a report on the total lunar eclipse and full moon in Leo. That will also be a supermoon, a wolf moon and a blood moon. So yeah, this moon's pretty much everything. So this moon will be happening on the 21st of January at 4:16 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Now, it's been like the twilight zone in between these two eclipses, and Jupiter and Neptune squaring has definitely amplified this feeling of going down the rabbit hole and falling into delusions and illusions and feeling like our brains escaped our body and gone on to another planet. But yes, this eclipse is all about change, massive change, letting go of the past. Pretty much everything up until this point pretty much just needs to go at this time. Anything that's not aligning with us, anything that's not resonating with us. So pretty much everything that came into our lives in 2018. No, not really. So stay tuned and I'll bring you the report. Alrighty, total lunar eclipse, full moon in Leo. So eclipses are known for their intensity, and it has been intense the last 2 weeks. And they're also vital for massive change. And the effects of an eclipse can last up to 6 months, or it will culminate over 6 months and then be a radical change. But at this eclipse, because it's making aspects out to Uranus, I'm feeling like it's just going to be that radical change, like at this full moon. So we don't know what's going to happen here. It is a bit of a mystery. But I do want to highlight that this eclipse correlates with the start of the eclipse season for the Aquarius and Leo axis back in 2017 in February. So have a think about, in February 2017, what were your desires? What made your heart sing? What was your inner child wanting? What goals and aspirations and passions were, stirring up in your mind and in your heart? And have a look to now and see if those have completed or those have culminated, and there's like a completion cycle of what that desire was. So this eclipse will be at 0 degrees of Leo. And when it's at 0 degrees, it means it's at its most cardinal. And it also has a little bit of characteristics of Cancer and that little bit of characteristics of Leo. So at this time, we really need to be connecting with our inner child and what we really want, what our desires are, what makes us happy. And we will know what this is because what's not working will be very prevalent at this time. And what we're needing to do is to let go of everything that doesn't align anymore. And it is some tough stuff. It's not like we can just let go and detach. It is really some stuff that we're really just having to work through and go through the healing process, go through the emotional process to let go of all the situations that don't serve us. And through 2018, it was very prevalent of what wasn't working and what needs to change. And it's going to take a lot of courage to let go of the things that we really wanted. And I want to make it really clear as to what desires you have and what wants you have. They are perfectly fine. You don't need to, disassociate with your feelings and disassociate with what you want. But it's really important now that we understand that some of our desires and some of our wants don't align with us, and we're evolving at such a rapid rate, and we need to start connecting to our soul's purpose and what our soul really wants. Yes, our desires and passions have served us up until this point, but we really need to be changing those and evolving because the past is becoming non-existent. We are moving into higher frequencies, and these old structures are needing to go, and that means we need to let go of our old desires. But still, it's okay to have those desires. It's okay to still feel like you still want them, but we need to even be in a sense of, thinking that, all right, cool, I wanted this, I still want this, but I know there's something better for me. So I'm just going to go on the journey, and I'm just going to take one step at a time, and letting go of the old stuff that I wanted. It's just going to take one step at a time. And with Chiron coming back out of Pisces, it's really triggering us to let go, but it's causing all this massive anxiety because Pisces represents endings, and because we know that we need to let go and completely let go and move into the future, it is really triggering. And in some ways we're kind of holding on to our fantasies and illusions, and with Jupiter making aspects out to Neptune, we're really, going into our fantasies in our mind, getting lost in scenarios in the past or in the future or something that hasn't even occurred. And it's kind of, in a way, escapism and, keeping us stuck in our situations. So I definitely understand this myself. Over this last week, I have gone through the exact same process. There was something that I really wanted in 2018. Like, I still, at this point in myself, still want that desire. I still want that thing, but I know that it doesn't work for me. I know it doesn't align for me. And I know that every aspect about that situation went wrong and didn't work. So at this time for myself even, I'm just having to let go and see it as a process and move forward as a process. And if you can kind of implement the same kind of thing in your journey, if you're not feeling ready to let go completely, but then you are wanting to step into the new, this might be helpful for you. Just, like I said before, just taking that one step at a time. And just a side note on that, everything you wanted is energy. And energy doesn't end, it doesn't die, it doesn't dissipate. It changes and reforms and turns into something else. And those desires that you wanted, those passions that you wanted that didn't work out, whether it be in relationships, whether it be for work, or whether it be family or friends, or whatever it is that you were really desiring that isn't working, that will transform into something else. And sometimes it isn't supposed to come about this life. Sometimes it might come about in another life, or sometimes it transforms into something that's more aligned. So don't think that you're letting go of something that's in a way dead and it will never occur for you. It might be something that just happens later on down the track. So, just be aware that everything is energy. All our desires are energy, and these things transform, and we don't know when they might resurface and come back into our lives one day. So I'm going to go over the Sabian symbol for the total lunar eclipse in Leo, and that will be at 1 degrees. And the meaning for this one is: blood rushes to a man's head as his vital energies are mobilized under the spur of ambition. Keen note: an eruption of biopsychic energies into the ego-controlled field of consciousness. Now, I feel like that really does highlight again the Cancer Leo aspects and, our emotional heart, our inner child, blood rushing to the head as it's the very early degree of Leo. It's that, spurt of energy, that, that psychic connection, because, Cancer does represent psychic connections. It represents our intuition. So we're really having a lot of intuition in our passions, intuition in our heart. We know what's working for us. We know what we really want, and we can see all this playing out. We have so much connection going on at this time, so we can see what the aspects are and how we need to just be focusing on what's serving us. And how we do that is really just to connect to our feelings. When we connect to our feelings, we're on the right direction. And especially with the North Node in Cancer, there's all about being our emotional self-reliance, connecting to our emotions, trusting our emotions and our intuition. And at this time, we're really just needing to connect those two and really follow our emotions, because when we follow our emotions, we follow our heart. And then who knows what will happen? Who knows what we will attract to us, and what great things, and succeeding in our ambitions and goals as well. Alrighty, so take 2 of this total lunar eclipse and full moon in Leo video for me. I did the start of this video a few days ago, and now it is, I think, roughly 14 hours until the total lunar eclipse. So yes, just been extremely emotional. So I don't want to be dragging all my stuff onto YouTube, but I had to be my authentic self and just be like everybody else and just show that, hey, like this, you know, lunar eclipse is affecting everybody, and we're all got stuff coming up from the past, whether it be from last year or 2 years, or whether it be from 7 years. You know, we're all clearing a lot of stuff right now. And me personally, like, I had a situation come into my life at this eclipse last year. So to me, fully letting go of that right now has really triggered a lot of emotions for me, especially in between these two eclipses, as this eclipse is happening with my Venus in my 3rd house, and then Mercury, who represents the 3rd house, is next to Pluto. So it's just very intense, like this communication, everything I'm seeing and feeling, and all the past things that have been coming up. So yeah, it's just really, really intense. So I just thought that I would just be my raw emotional self and just be and represent how I really feel right now, instead of, you know, putting on a show. So carrying on from the start of the video and picking up where I left off. So we've had all the planets go through Capricorn and through Saturn, and it has been all about, you know, motivations and getting our goals out there and accomplishing our dreams and being, you know, very in work mode, getting everything organized. And with the North Node in Cancer, it's really asking us to stop and check in with how we're feeling. There's, you know, nothing wrong with being productive and doing everything that we need to do, because we're in such a mindset of there's so much to do, there's so much to organize. You know, we've got all this extra motivation with Mars in Capricorn, so we've got a lot of drive to do all these things. But we really need to be checking in and seeing how we feel. And with all this activity to Saturn, especially Mercury with Saturn conjunct, and then we've got Mars trining Saturn, that's really asking us to stop and reflect. Like, there's so much energy forward, but it's really saying stop, have a think about this. Is it resonating with you? Is it working? Are you going in the right direction? And I feel like if we don't stop and check our direction and check in with our feelings, that we're going to go really off track. This year is really about checking in with how we feel. As the North Node is in Cancer, it's about honoring our feelings and having them just as respected as our productivity or our goals or our dreams or our passions. Everything has to be equal, and we have to be taking, you know, time out when we need to be taking time out. So if you've been really productive, you know, for a few days and you're on a bit of a roll, it really is a time to stop and then just take a self-care day, or stop and just do something that's for your emotional health, whether it's eating good, whether it's, you know, whatever it is. Just make sure you're doing something to really check in with how you're feeling, and even writing it down, like writing down how you're feeling, like, yep, I'm feeling really positive, but then these little feelings have been coming up here and there, and then explore into what that means for you, what's really going on. It's not a time to just be wiping away our feelings. We really need to be checking in with them at this time. So I've been seeing with the people in my own life and on social media and with my own clients, that the people that aren't stopping and reflecting are really going off course, like majorly off course. Like, obviously it's just a lesson, obviously it's a Saturn lesson and you're being redirected, but I'm not joking in the sense of, if we're experiencing blocks, if we're experiencing, you know, restrictions in some way, or it's not working out, you're not getting traction, stop what you're doing. And I'm not kidding, like literally just stop what you're doing and reflect. Don't make any moves until you check in with how you're feeling, process your feelings, and then move forward. And something that I've really enjoyed doing this year, that I started at the start of the year, was doing a love journal. So it's a journal that I write every day, every morning, and every day I write all the things I love about myself. And it's pretty cute. So that's it here. And it like changes. Yeah, so it's really amazing. But like, I wrote in the start of it, This diary is for Alesha to write down everything she loves about herself every day. Every part of Alesha is lovable and beautiful and deserves to be praised every day. And so I write all the things that I love about myself. I write all the things that I want to love. So just say the other day I had a really big pimple on my face, and I wrote in the diary that I loved getting this pimple because it's showing me that I'm not doing something. My body's trying to tell me something. My body's trying to say I'm not eating the right foods. My body's trying to say that I'm holding on to anger. So, it's really interesting to then see the changes in myself of writing down everything that I'm feeling and then loving it. So, I've done a few things this week that I wasn't sure about, but I just wrote down there that I loved that about myself. I've been definitely on another planet mentally, like it's just been a time for just going down the rabbit hole and then just going into our dreams and fantasies and being on cloud nine. So I've even written in the journal that I love that about myself. I love that my mind goes on a journey and then I can go into all these different dynamics and understand different things. So yeah, I think if everybody can get a book like this, especially with this, Leo, total lunar eclipse and then the North Node in Cancer, we really need to be feeling those loving emotions to ourselves. And, you don't have to have a cute little book like mine. You can just write on a piece of paper every day. But I do kind of recommend you get yourself something cool. It kind of makes it more special and magical, But yeah, just writing down how much you love yourself and how much you care makes a massive difference. And this total lunar eclipse representing the heart, representing Leo, like we really need to be, really living in our heart space this year, like really come home to our heart. And we've really got to learn that lesson over the last year while the North Node was in Leo. So I'm going to quickly read out the aspects, and there are a lot of them, and I'm not even in the mind space to be remembering them this video, so I'm just going to read them out to you. So we've got the moon conjunct the North Node in Cancer. We've got Mars trine Venus and Jupiter. We've got Venus conjunct Jupiter. We've got Jupiter and Venus square Neptune. Chiron trine the North Node and the moon. Sextile the Sun, South Node, Mercury, Pluto and Saturn. Uranus square the nodes. And we've got Mars square Saturn. So yes, there's a lot of aspects going on this moon. So out of all those aspects, I really want to touch on the Jupiter and Venus conjunction that's squaring out to Neptune and Pisces and trining out to Mars. So I'm feeling at this time it's about ending our old relationship dynamics and moving into what's higher service to us and what is more aligned with our heart. And I feel like at this time, with Venus meeting Jupiter, it really is a time to be getting our desires, to be getting what we really want. And, even in a way being too blown out. So I think at this time we kind of need to remain a little bit realistic about what's coming in. And at the same time, we really need to let go of our old desires. And I went over this earlier in the video. There is nothing wrong with having your desires. There's nothing wrong with having what you want. I myself want something that's probably not very good for me and my journey. And, I'm not going to say to anyone to not want what they want. I still want what I want, and I still honor what I want, and I still respect what I want. But I know for my journey forward, that situation isn't going to suit me. And I've had these types of situations my whole life. I've been someone who's always made the wrong choice in relationships, always, and the worst of the worst. So even in myself, I know that I need to let go of my old relationship dynamics. I need to be in relationships that are more of service to my journey and more of a representation of my self-worth. And I feel like at this time we can have what we really want, but are we going to choose the new way and the new direction, or are we going to choose the old stuff? Are we going to choose the stuff that we know doesn't work? So I think at this time, if you're single or you're in a relationship or you're in a relationship that's complicated, as on Facebook, yeah, I don't know. I feel like at this time we really need to just be letting go of what we've understood relationships to be. Everything up until this point that hasn't worked, it just needs to go now. And you know, it's a hard process. You know, you're letting go of something that you've been attached to and the way you've operated for a really long time. So I know myself how difficult that is. This week has been really hard for me in the sense of letting go of something that I don't want to let go of. I wish worked. I wish I could have that need met, but obviously it's just not supposed to. So yeah, I think we really need to be, you know, going in the direction of the new. So if I could suggest anything, if you get what you want, really have a look to see if it's going to serve you going forward in your journey. And if it's not going to serve you going forward in your journey, if it's just to soothe those old desires or an old way of being or your fixed way of relating to people or how you like, you know what I mean? Just our old conditioned dynamics of what we think love is. I just feel like we really need to be changing from that. We really need to be letting go of that at this time. So I'm going to wrap up this video and head back to crying in my room and, you know, grieving the end of the end. So yes, so this total lunar eclipse and full moon in Leo is pretty intense and we're all really feeling it. And don't be hard on yourself. Try not to be hard on others that are really triggered right now. I know myself, I'm super, super triggered. So yes, at this time, be really nice to others and just go into your heart. So like, even if you have to go into your room and then just do what I've done, get a love journal and then write down all the things you love about yourself. Really come home to your self-worth and your inner child and what you really need. And I will also say is to go have fun. Like I myself yesterday went out to a Stacks On festival and it was absolutely amazing. Connected to so many beautiful people, dressed up, looked all glamorous and had heaps of fun the Leo way. So yes, I think at this time, once the emotions die down, or if you can find something fun to do, definitely go do it, because it really is about connecting to our inner child. It's about having fun and coming into our heart space, and you know, take this forward up to the rest of the year, because as I went over, is eclipses, you know, create massive change, and you know, it can take up to 6 months to culminate, and it can, you know, be the change that changes your life forever. So whatever you're feeling right now, honor that, and whatever is going on in your mind of what you really know you need to change, this is the time to, you know, get on that train and move forward. Like, do not stay in the old anymore. It's really a time of just letting all that shit go. So yes, that is pretty much it for me. So thank you so much. I hope you all have a blessed full moon and total lunar eclipse in Leo. If you'd like a reading from me, please contact me on the information below or the end of the video. But yes, thank you so much and many soul journey blessings.